Hi, I'm Manny Botticelli, and this is the Storyteller Forecast for Cancer for March 2017. Go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com, see what's new on my blog. Lots of resources there for the Venus retrograde transit. I've gone quite blog crazy, plus some other blogs. And while you're there, you can see if I have any slots left in my astrology apprenticeship program, where I can teach you how to do astrology professionally or how to use it just for your own fun and learning about yourself and your friends and family. So you can see if I have any more slots open. So what's going on in this month of March? We still have eclipse news coming in. You can always tell when it's eclipse time, even if you're not paying attention to the transits, because people are having crazy things happen. Now, something that we talked about, I went into great detail in the February horoscopes as to where these eclipses could be hitting you and the themes that are at play there. So I'm not going to go into that now, but you can go back to the February report to check that out. But basically, the thing to know about eclipses is that you often get news 4 to 6 weeks before the eclipse, and news can come in 4 to 6 weeks after. So in March, we are still in high time for hot eclipse news, important life-changing trajectories to occur. So we've got that going on. We've got clashes between outer planets, which I call titans. The outer planets they're big dogs, they get together in these mathematical configurations and they lock in. And there's a big theme that's going on in our lives. So we've got the second pass of two different aspects with Jupiter occurring in March, both of which had first passes at the end of last year. So we're in chapter 2 of a 3-chapter story that doesn't end until the fall. So we're going to talk about that. We've got the astrological new year, yay. It never feels like the new year to me in January, but it definitely feels like it once those planets start to get in Aries and everyone is chomping at the bit. So we've got that happening in March. Even though we're in the midst of a retrograde, you'll still feel that energy of like new and, fresh and, just things trying to burst forth. So we've got that going on. We've got the best day of the year to do a vision board besides your birthday, which is March 27th, the new moon in Aries. So we'll talk about all the general transits. But first, I want to go into something specific for Cancer. Venus retrograde is a very important transit because it occurs once every 18 months. It's only retrograde for 6 to 7 weeks. But there's a shadow period before and afterward that are very extensive. And it makes it about a 4-month total transit. And you definitely feel it. Venus rules love and relationships and money and finances and aesthetics and beauty and art-related projects and fashion and hobbies and a massive amount of ownership under the Venus umbrella. So when she's sleepy, we call her the triple goddess because she rules love, beauty, and money. When she's sleepy, there are a lot of things to know. So I have done a lot of work to put together extensive blogs on this topic, and I'm condensing some of my Venus retrograde through the houses blog relevant for you in this video, but you can see more of it on my website along with some other resources like my Venus retrograde do's and don'ts blog and video. So early and some middle degree placements are going to experience the retrograde in the 10th house. The rest of the middle degree placements and the later degree placements are going to experience the retrograde in the 9th house. A lot of the middle degree placements are actually going to experience both the 10th and 9th house retrograde, depending on where you're placed. Okay, so we've got the early degree, which is 0 to 9 degrees if you're watching for your rising sign, or the first 10 days of the birthday. That's the early. The middle are the 10 to 19 degrees, or second 10 days of the 30 days that the sun is in Cancer. And then there's the late degree placements, which are the last 10 days of the birthday or the last 10 degrees. So like 20 to 29 degrees for your rising sign. So early and middle degree placements, listen up. The retrograde is going to be in the 10th house for you. 10th house rules career, work, father figures, authority figures, yourself as an authority figure, relationships with authority figures and father figures, and your life purpose. Sometimes people have their life purpose and their career grouped in one, but some people don't. So we list it separately because it will come up in either or both of those places. So during this time, it's very, very, very common for people to reconsider their work. Venus, which rules money, going retrograde in the 10th house, it makes you think, do I want to keep making money this way? That's a very basic translation of what the energy can look like. It can also look like, how can I make more money doing what I'm already doing? Like looking into details of your business plan. It's a really good time to assess what is working. If you know how to look at analytics for your business, or can get help in investigating what has been working for your business, that's an amazing way to use the retrograde. You know, it's like going back over things to see what worked so you can get your strategy for the future. It's not necessarily time to implement the strategy, but it is the time to assess what's going on and to talk about and think about and brainstorm what you're going to do next, whether that relates to having a plan B because you want to get out of your job, or whether that relates to wanting to do your job in a different way, or whether it relates to wanting to make more money at your job or restructure somehow. So many people actually have quite a boom of money and business when Venus is in retrograde. It doesn't necessarily mean that money will cool off, although many people do experience money cooling off in Venus retrograde. I have personally experienced and watched other people experience actual booms during the retrograde. And a lot of times those booms come from looking to the past for your business. It's not necessarily the best time to try to go out and get new business from people that you've never talked to before, or doing something new that you've never done before. But staying the course and staying on track with what you've been doing and being consistent and catering to people from your past, how you can help them and maybe develop more tools and resources for people you've already been working with, those kind of things can usually be very successful. So love in the workplace from the past could return. Maybe someone you had a romantic relationship with can come get transferred back into your space. A lot of coming back from the past energy involving love and business. Making money with a father or father figure could come up as an experience. So if you have a business idea and you want to talk to your dad about it, you know, there's energy involving father. Maybe you owe your dad some money and you want to make it right. That's another way it could come up. Sometimes someone from the past in a powerful position can come back into your life to get you into a place where you can get more recognized. Something else that might also come up is the question of recognition and what you want it for. You know, I think that so many children are brought up with these recognition-based love showings that people become recognition hungry, or they either decide they have to go out and get a bunch of recognition so that they can be loved and they can feel okay, or they go the other way, and if they were always criticized and they decided, well, I may as well not do anything because I can't win or get any affection anyway, then they become underachievers. So it's like the overachiever, underachiever trap. That's going to come up right and left. So you can do a very nice, thorough evaluation of what it is that you want recognition for and why, and if that quest is serving you, and if it's not, how can you do it different? There's a fantastic book called Tapping into Wealth by Margaret Lynch. You can get it on Amazon. I like it better on Audible because you can listen to it. And she uses the emotional freedom technique, which is one of my all-time favorite emotional and mental and spiritual and physical clearing tools. She uses very targeted. She's just brilliant at targeting people's issues with money, why they're succeeding, why they're not, why they're sabotaging themselves. So you can check out that resource at this time. It will be very effective. So other things you can look into at this time, vocational training and research. You know, if you're not sure about your position, you could look into what you could be good at. Very often astrologers can see that for you. I know the ones I train can. So you might want to look into something like that, like your life purpose information, North Node. If you know anything about astrology, going into your North Node, which is your highest expression this lifetime, it's really good to do right now. And then the South Node, which is the counterpart, is the blocks and the challenges. And I'm simplifying it, grossly simplifying it, but it talks about the blocks that are interfering with you reaching your highest expression and the gifts that you have available to you to help you reach your highest expression. So anything studying those things can help you. So my affirmation for you is, I draw in full support for living in my highest purpose. I draw in full support for living in my highest purpose. You can see pretty versions of the affirmations that I make for you in the horoscopes on my Instagram account. If you like to have the visual or like to have daily inspiration, then you can check that out there. Okay, so for the rest of you who are having Venus retrograde in the ninth house, here are some of the ways that can look. Venus, or actually Sagittarius in the ninth house, rule different countries, different cultures, different languages, teaching, learning, and any places or methods of teaching and learning. Writing, speaking, publishing, communication with the intention of expanding consciousness, spiritual studies from the perspective of the bigger picture, churches, any belief systems or connections with spirit, groups where you connect with spirit or understandings that help you connect with spirit. So when Venus goes retrograde in this area of life, very often ideas that you've had to make money with any of these things I've just listed can go back into the forefront, and different opportunities. Sometimes a place calls out to you. A geographic location could call out to you to say, you need to be here, and it could be a place you've been to before, or it could be a place that you have thought about often and is coming back saying, hey, maybe there's something for you here. Anything involving a writing project, publishing project, communicating or working with the church or any different international business thing has a very strong chance of coming back from the past to evaluate it. And often there's great success or movement involving things that come back from the past. Again, it's not really a time to launch something, but it's a time to go back over these things that come up as it relates to these sectors of life. So my affirmation for you is I reconnect with past experiences in meaningful ways. Sagittarius is all about looking for meaning. So when we have this transit in the area that is ruled by Sagittarius, it's about meaning, it's about finding meaning in experiences, in beliefs, in understandings, in locations, in studies, in teachings. So that's what's up. So getting back involved with spiritual pursuits that you are interested in, or reading, or going on book benders, as I like to call them, are very common when this transit is occurring. So these are the things that are specific for Cancer. Now I want to talk about the things that I referred to before about these Jupiter aspects, how you can maximize them. This theme of summoning your inner badass, which is what I'm calling the general theme. And we'll talk about all that now. So I'm calling the theme of the month for the general transit, so this is relevant for all signs. Summon your inner badass. And what I imagine when I'm seeing the energies of March all coming together is a hero that is walking through a scene that we're observing, and there are difficulties coming at them, and they're standing tall and strong and confident and moving through and being triumphant at the end of the challenges. Every month brings challenges and opportunities and sweet spots. I see challenges always as opportunities. So a month that has more challenges in some ways can be a month full of more opportunities. We have started to ask wrong questions in our lives, I think, or questions that cause us to experience life in a disempowered way. When we ask questions, what's going to happen in the stars that's going to stress me out? Or tell me what's going to happen, these are disempowered questions. The questions we want to be asking astrology and in general is, help me understand what's going on here so that I can maximize the potentials for my highest expression. And that's what I focus on. So I want to help you ask different questions, and that's part of summoning your inner badass, because the more empowered questions you ask, the more of an empowered life you will live. So we've got multiple important aspects going on this month, and I'm going to go through them and how I think that we can most use them. There are also some lesser aspects that you definitely will feel, sweet days, challenging days, etc., a longer list of those that you can get when you sign up for my free email newsletter at anniehelpsyou.com. You'll get my monthly write-up, which includes a written version of the things that I touch on in the horoscope for the general transits, and it also includes more things that I don't have time to talk about. So if you have signed up for my email newsletter and you're not receiving it, it could be in your spam or social or events folders, because I do send them out every month. Okay, so the first aspect of the month is March 2nd, and this is Jupiter in Libra opposing Uranus in Aries, and this is happening at 20 degrees. So if you have planets near the 20 degrees, you're probably going to be affected more than these aspects without them, but globally everyone will still be experiencing this. So that expression, things come in threes, is astrological, and that's because often things that we're experiencing come from aspects in the sky, and these ones that are big long-term themes, they usually involve what I call the titans, the outer planets. It's like a sumo match between these planets that just carry a massive amount of power and a massive amount of potential. So when you have Jupiter, an outer planet, and Uranus, an outer planet, coming together in what could be considered a challenging aspect called an opposition, they're trying to find balance. An opposition is two opposing forces. They're antagonistic, but they can also become synergistic. So the more you can transcend whatever the issue is, the more those planets will work in synastry. So Jupiter wants to expand, and Uranus wants to innovate. Libra is the planet of the sign of we, and Aries is the sign of me. So we've got a me-we aspect of a theme trying to get things worked out that started at the end of December. And this is in March 2nd, it's the second pass. And then on September 27th, we have the final part of the story. These are like chapters in a story that are ongoing. So it's some sort of breaking free from constraints in relationships. And that's basically the theme. So we might perceive someone as limiting us, or someone might be perceiving us as limiting them. And maybe that is true. But what's probably more true is that we have limitations within us as far as how we can experience relationship, and we project that limitation on all of our relationships because it's coming from the inside. So you have an opportunity here to break free from your pattern within yourself, so you can stop enslaving your partner to play a certain role, and you can stop being attractive to those circumstances that are unfulfilling for you. So that's very exciting. So then on March 4th, we have Venus going retrograde. We've been talking about this for a while because the shadow period started at the end of January. And this transit only happens once every 18 months, and there's a lot that goes along with it. So definitely check out my Venus retrograde do's and don'ts blog and video. I'm also writing some other extensive Venus retrograde blogs that you can look for on my website, anniehelpsyou.com. And the basic gist of Venus retrograde is that Venus, we call Venus the triple goddess because she rules love, beauty, and money. So beauty also includes aesthetics in your environment, art, design, fashion, appearance, things like that. So she's going backwards. And when she goes backwards, it's a time to reconsider everything about love, beauty, and money. It's a time to go back to old ideas, old things that worked, old clients. Many people will revisit previous relationships. People who are staying in the same relationship will revisit topics that came up in the past, for better and worse. Venus retrograde is not just a time where unresolved conflicts can come up, although that is definitely a theme. Anything swept under the rug in love, beauty, or money will come back up to be looked at. But it's also a time where lots of magic can return to those areas of life. You can find money. You can have love return to a relationship where it had left. You can find some riches with your self-esteem development, which is another important topic for this retrograde. So we've got that going on from March 4th through April 15th. And it's going to be retrograde from 13 degrees of Aries back to 26 degrees of Pisces. So in the, we talked about where the Venus retrograde is taking place in the house for your sign. For all signs, we will experience Venus retrograde in Aries, which is similar to the first house, or is the same as the first house retrograde, and 26 degrees of Pisces, which is the same as the 12th house retrograde. So depending on where your placements were for your sign, you might be having the same themes come up, or you might be having some additional themes come up. But the general story of Venus in Aries has to do with self-esteem. It's talking about appearance, fashion, how you put yourself out into the world. Pisces has to do with hidden places. So this is a place where this hidden money can come to you, money that you didn't know that you had, or that you hid from yourself, or that was in the backdrop somehow. It's just stuff from the past involving love, beauty, and money. That's the basic gist of Venus retrograde. So then on March 12th, we have a full moon at 22 degrees of Virgo. And full moons, the best way to manage full moons, I think, is to leave some space around them, because full moons are a time when our emotions just sort of shake off. Everything that we've been accumulating for the month coming to fullness is just a time to shake it off, like a dog shakes off water. So often there's something dramatic or there's something really cool going on that you want to be present for, So I usually keep a little space around the full moons for whenever these manifestations come up, because the best way to deal with them is to be present with them. So Virgo rules health, your daily work, it rules pets. So it's possible that something involving those things could come to your attention or need attention or come up as a focus at this time. The full moon is also making quite a lot of aspects, opposing Mercury and Chiron, trining Pluto, and squaring Saturn. So we've got a lot of power at this full moon, I think, to overcome the energy of woundedness. And this is going to be a theme this month because of aspects with Chiron. Chiron is an asteroid that is called the Wounded Healer. And the idea of the Wounded Healer, or my understanding of the Wounded Healer, and as I've observed it through countless charts, is that it's a place of weakness. That deep place where if someone gets at that, then you don't know what comes out. It gets ugly. It's a very wounded place or a very weak place for you. So the idea of Chiron, the highest vibration, is that you strengthen, you focus your attention on that weakness or that vulnerability, and it becomes a strength. So that's the transcendent version. So like in the instance of the energy in Virgo rules health. Maybe some people have health weaknesses. Maybe they have to work harder to attain health. And when that happens, they might wind up being healthier and staving off other health issues because they had a weakness that made them focus on their health. And if they didn't have that meticulous focus, then they could have created other problems maybe, or maybe they wind up teaching or helping people from it, or improving the lives of others because of what they've had to go through. So this is just an example of how you can take any woundedness that comes up this month or ever and convert it into something positive and powerful and supportive. So on March 20th, we have the beginning of the astrological new year. I never feel like the new year is starting on January 1st, especially when it's in the midst of a retrograde like it was this year and some other years. So March is when the planets start to move into Aries, and the planet of Aries, or the sign of Aries, is the baby of the zodiac. It's that bursting forth, that energy of spring, something new beginnings. So you'll see as the planets are moving into this sign, people get impulsive, they get excited, they get wild, they want to do stuff, they feel active. And this is the energy of New Year. So on March 27th, we have the new moon in Aries, and I always consider the new moon in Aries to be like the kickoff party for the new year. It's like the new year starts around March 20th, and then when the new moon in Aries comes, it's like, yay, okay, it's a new year, let's have a party. That's like New Year's Eve, So this new moon in Aries, all the new moons in Aries, so the one new moon that we have in Aries a year, is the best time of the whole year besides your birthday to do vision boards or other seed planting for your future, things that you want in that upcoming year. So definitely take full advantage of that. This new moon also carries a lot of power. It's conjunct Chiron and Venus. It's a square Saturn, and it's coinciding with a Mars in Taurus and Neptune sextile, which is a 60-degree angle. It's a positive angle. So there's, again, a lot of power behind this moon phase. On March 30th, we have our last big aspect of the month, which is the second Jupiter square with Pluto. Similar to how we've been talking about this Jupiter opposition with Libra, how it happened once last year, so did this Jupiter and Pluto aspect. And this one's happening at 19 degrees. On November 24th of last year, this Jupiter and Pluto first pass happened. Now on March 30th, the second pass happens. And then on August 4th, the last pass will happen. So we've got these 3 chapters of this ongoing story. And one of the main themes, I think, of this ongoing story has to do with ambitions, rising ambitions, and the idea of competition and what we have to do or what we're willing to do or what we think we have to do to succeed. in a third dimensional reality, there is competition. There's focus on competition. And there are all of the energies that go along with competition. It's kind of gross, you know? It can be very, very low vibe and not conducive to conscious evolution to focus too much on the energy of competition. My suggestion, I invite you to use this energy to transcend competition and tune into divine timing and your divine path and purpose. So if you're out there doing what you're supposed to be doing and you feel like Spirit is guiding you and you're on track and you're speaking your truth or doing your truth, then it doesn't really matter what anyone else is doing. You will attract to you the people and the customers that will be perfect for you. And so really there's no competition on the spiritual plane. And this is an affirmation from Florence Scovel Shinn, who is one of my all-time favorite teachers. She's not in form anymore that I know of. And she wasn't even when she came to me. She had passed a long time ago. So she was teaching about, she was actually teaching about Jesus's work as a metaphysician, teaching about transcending mundane reality while still in form, like bringing heaven onto earth in our experience. And that is an affirmation I got from her. So there's no competition on the spiritual plane. So if you are conducting yourself in a way that is high vibrational, if you are doing everything that is in sync with your beliefs and your values, then you can transcend this energy, you know? So you just check in with yourself and see how this is true for you, and just look out for it, because these themes are sometimes very subtle. You know, sometimes they come more into the forefront, but overall they're very subtle sometimes. So these are the main things that I am seeing for the month for the general transits. So you have plenty of opportunities to summon your inner badass. Definitely go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com. Check out my blogs. I have blogs on all different kinds of topics, not just astrology. If you want to learn astrology with me, then I might still have some slots available in my astrology apprenticeship program. If you want to bring your business online, check out my Creating Successful Online Business course. And if you would like to be a coach as your profession, then you can check out my coach certification course. So I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.